And what I'm going to demonstrate to you or try to teach you is something that keeps coming up again and again and again, and it will for the next 2 weeks. If we want to evaluate f of 2 here, then f of 2 would be equal to 6 minus x, which is 2, minus 2, over root 3 minus x, which is 2, minus 1. But what you get here on the top is 0 over, and on the bottom you get 0. Are you with me on that? That 6 minus 2 is 4, root 4 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1, root 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. But what that's telling you is that somehow inside of the numerator is a factor of x minus 2. You can't see it. Nobody can see it because it doesn't work that way. But there must be a factor of x minus 2 in there someplace, because when you put x equals 2 in, you get 0, so there must be something that when you put 2 in gives you 0, and x minus 2 would give you 0. Similarly, inside of the denominator is a factor of x minus 2. So if we can tweak this thing so that we can see the x minus 2 on the top and the x minus 2 on the bottom, then we can cancel them, and then we can put in 2, even though it's clearly non-permissible because it would involve division by 0 in its current state. So what you would do is you would take out your toolbox I want to make sure I wrote that down correctly. Root 6 minus x, then minus 2, root 3 minus x, then minus 1. And you would say, well, I'm going to try something. It seems to me that more often than not, you might say, it's the denominator that needs to be rationalized. And I can see why a person would argue that way, because it's division by 0 that's the problem, so you want to maybe change the denominator. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom of this expression by root of 3 minus x plus 1, which is the conjugate of the denominator. And I do not want to multiply out the numerator. 1, it clearly is not going to go anywhere. And 2, I want to leave things exposed in case things cancel. So what I have is, in the numerator, I have root 6 minus x and then minus 2. It's getting a little awkward here, but that's okay. The math is what it is. And then I have a product, or a factor rather, of root 3 minus x plus 1. And then on the bottom, what do I get? Well, I get 3 minus x. I'm just saving a bit of time. Instead of writing this twice, I have 3 minus x minus 1, which is 2 minus x. And now I've revealed the problem. That's the problem. 2 minus x is the problem in putting 2 in. It isn't x minus 2, which I claimed before, right? I said contains a factor of x minus 2. But 2 minus x does contain a factor of x minus 2. It's there. I'm not going to factor the 1 out, the negative 1 out, because why? The only issue is I can't cancel it with the 2 minus x on the top because I don't see a 2 minus x on the top. But don't forget, and you can try this right now, go ahead and put 2 in every place there's an x on the top. If I put 2 in here, I get root 6 minus 2, which is root 4, minus 2 is 0. I still get 0 on the top, which means there's still a factor of x minus 2 on the top. This is how you think. And that means that what we have to try is to change the appearance of the top. Now, if you said, you know what, I'm going to multiply by this, you can go ahead and spend a few minutes doing that, but what you will discover is you go right back to the beginning, because you're rationalizing the result of rationalizing the denominator. It's just going to flip over. So what we want to do instead is rationalize the other part, which was the original numerator. So we multiply top and bottom by root 6 minus x plus 2. And if you were to multiply by the conjugate of this, because that's what you want to try, then you will learn what calculus is about. It's about doing something with math and then going, no, I don't think so. I want to go back and start again. I want to try something different. It's not as linear as most math is in thinking. So what do I get? On the bottom, I have my 2 minus x, and I have this root 6 minus x plus 2. On the top, I have this underlined in green, the root 3 minus x plus 1. And then I have the product of this conjugate pair, which will give me 6 minus x minus 2 squared is 4, which I'm not going to rewrite the whole thing, just to point out to you that 6 minus x minus 4 is 2 minus x. So what we end up with is that. And it happened very quickly. Like, we went from something that was getting a little bit out of control to all of a sudden getting this expression. And be careful here in trying to come up with some grand rule that you can flip things over and change signs. That's just a fluke, okay? It's not really a fluke, but you want to know how to do the math. And now you can put 2 in. So if I put 2 in for x, I get root 3 minus 2 plus 1 over root 6 minus 2 plus 2. So on the top, I get 1 plus 1. On the bottom, I get 2 plus 2. So I get 1/2. 2 over 4 is 1 over 2.